Hi, my name's Janelle and welcome back to Rosery Apparel. In this video, I'm going to be sharing part 2 of my sewing studio makeover. This video is going to be all about painting this space. So in the last part of this series, I shared how I cleaned out this space and I had big plans to potentially paint this space a really light, kind of beigey pink. But since I've been thinking about it over the last few weeks, I have kind of decided that the white is really working well in the space for filming. I can't begin to describe to you how much this space has transformed once the white paint went onto the walls. I've also painted the ceiling, which has also brightened up the space significantly because now the light kind of can bounce on all of the different surfaces. It is actually exceptional just how much brighter it is down here, because I was very nervous it was going to stay a bit dark and dingy down here, but no, it is definitely light enough for filming now. So much so that I've actually moved my old cutting table into this space so I can film down here. So yeah, I think I'm 100% decided I'm going to paint the walls a white color. I'm not going to go as pure white as this, but it's definitely going to be more a warmer white. I am still going to inject color into this space in lots of other ways. The furniture in particular, the tabletops. I love having this table here as a flat lay for some of my projects, and having it a pink color is just a little bit more fun than if it was just the natural timber color or just a plain white. I also have this beautiful darker color. Where are my paint swatches? Let me go grab it because I've forgotten the name. So it is called Pink Tulle, which is this color here. There's also a few darker options, which I'm kind of drawn to as well. They're just a really beautiful peachy terracotta color and I am in love with them. Basically, this color is going to be an accent around the space. So I've got some beams along the ceiling that were very rusted, and the primer I've used has really done a good job at not having the rust come through, but it has started to come through in a few different areas, which is no big deal because I plan on painting them a rusty kind of color anyway. I also have the frames around the windows, which do need a bit of work. I'm in this video hoping to restore them to a much neater situation. Through this whole makeover journey, I have been needing to learn so many different DIY techniques, and something that has really helped me through this process is a resource called Craftsy, who just so happens to be the sponsor of this video. Craftsy is an online community and resource where millions of like-minded crafters and DIY enthusiasts go to for inspiration and to learn new skills. Whether you would like to learn knitting, quilting, baking, woodworking, jewelry making, crochet, sewing, illustration, there are over 2,000 crafty classes to discover over on Craftsy. Each class is broken down into easy to follow step-by-step lessons and are led by the most lovely instructors who you can tell genuinely want you to succeed at your new craft. As I'm progressing through this makeover, I know I'm going to start needing to learn how to use power tools because I really want to start making my own custom furniture for the space. And to help me with this, I have been taking a class called Ride or DIY by Rachel Metz. This class has really helped me to understand how to confidently use my power tools, which I recently purchased and I'm so excited to start using more, and has also just helped me have a much better understanding of where to even get started when it comes to woodworking. So if you're excited to learn some new crafts on Craftsy as well, then the first 1,000 people to use the link in the description below this video will receive a full year of premium membership to Craftsy for only $1.49. Thank you so much, Craftsy, for sponsoring this video. I've also recently had some brickwork done in this space. I will put in some footage from when that was all happening, just so you can get a bit of context as to why I'm bricking up the space a little bit. Okay, so here is a look at what we're dealing with. We've just got some kind of concreting here that just hasn't really been finished properly. We've also got some exposed black tarp, so I'm assuming that is going to help with moisture problems down here. So we don't want to get rid of it by any means, but we just want to neaten it up, fix it up, seal it in properly. We've also got just some unfinished concrete along this wall, which I think we're potentially going to just brick up all along here. And we also have some unfinished concrete here too that will also be bricking up. This is kind of like something I've been very excited to fix up, because when I first started fixing up this space, I was completely at a loss of how we're going to fix this up and seal it all properly. Hopefully today we'll make a start on it anyway, and I'll give you an update once my brother is finished for the day, see how it looks. I'm excited. Also, I think with these cracks in the wall, I might see if my brother can help me fix and fill these in a little bit. Some are definitely worse than others. Like I have mentioned in my first part of this series, the cracks along here, I think I'm going to deal with those by actually having my clothes rack up against this wall so that the clothes will then just fully cover up those cracks and you won't even see them. These ones are really bad down here as well, but I am going to be having my sewing tables along this wall, so you're not going to notice them that much. This is all a work in progress. But yeah, I'm excited to update you later, and hopefully we'll have some brickwork in here. Okay, this is so random, but we have this pole here that has a whole heap of bricks just like piled up against it. When we were looking at buying this house, it was one of the first things my dad noticed, was the fact that these bricks don't have any cement securing them in place, so they are literally just stacked here. We are actually going to use these bricks to fix up the flooring in the sewing space. But yeah, how random is that? There's just a pile of bricks here just for decoration. I think I would much prefer to actually utilize them somewhere else. Okay, first things first, I completely forgot I want to putty up some of the holes in the wall. So I'm going to start by doing that, because this needs to be done 24 hours before you can start actually painting over it, I'm pretty sure. I need to read the instructions, but especially like on this wall in particular, there are just a lot of cracks that need to be puttied up. Okay, so quite a productive day in here today. I have patched up a lot of the walls. I've decided to not bother patching this up because I'm gonna have tables all along this wall, so you're not actually gonna see all of that crumbliness. So that will be left the way it is, and I'll just paint over it as best I can. And I've also painted the undercoat of the brickwork, which I wasn't expecting to get done, both of those things today, but I'm really happy about that. And I think now that the bricks have been painted, it looks really nice. I have even like sat here in this corner for a little bit, and it's like perfect bench seat height. And someone commented on my last video, my last sewing makeover video, that making that like a little seat area would be really nice, because I could sit there and do hand stitching when I need to do little bits of hand stitching, and could sit there and do my knitting and things like that. So I really like that idea, and I think I might end up making this into like a cute little bench seat. Super happy with the progress I've made today. It feels good to be back in here working away. So it's the next day, and I am going to start tackling the sanding of these window frames. Look how pretty my garden looks from the outside though. It's already some cute little pink flowers at the window. I actually have plans to make that whole garden bed down there a rosary. Basically, I just want it to be a cute little flower garden so I can see flowers from outside my window and potentially have a nice little cute backdrop to take outfit photos of all the things I make. So yeah, let's get to sanding. Been so long since I worked on this space. It's actually a bit embarrassing how long it's been. I recently brought out a sewing pattern and all of my spare time for months leading up to that release day has been spent working on that pattern. And then I also ended up going on quite a last minute spontaneous trip to Texas. Matt, my husband, had to go to Austin for work for a month and I was allowed to tag along with him, so of course I jumped at the opportunity. But now I'm back into the swing of just normal everyday life. I have gotten ahead with my video content, which means I have a good week or so where I can just dedicate to working on this space and getting it to a place where I can actually start to see the potential again. I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling overwhelmed because I've kind of stagnated and not worked on it for a few months. I'm feeling overwhelmed again, which is fine. I'll get over it. I just need to get back into it and I think I'll feel a lot better. I have narrowed down the color to 2 on this sample here. The first one is Apricot Mix, which is this kind of reddish terracotta color, and the second one is this one called Surprise, which is more of a traditional terracotta shade. I can't tell which one I like more. I think I'm gonna probably end up going Surprise just because it's not so dark, but I do love the more reddy rosy tones of this top one. So I'm gonna get a sample pot of both of these today, paint a few samples onto my beams and onto the window frames. So yeah, let's head on over to Bunnings to pick up some sample pots. So it is a lot later in the day now. I had quite a bit to do in town. I also ended up catching up with my friend for lunch. So yeah, thought I would quickly paint some samples onto the beams so that way when the lighting's a bit better tomorrow and the paint has dried, I can get a good idea of what the color looks like. I'm pretty sure Surprise is going to be the winner, so I'll start off by doing a couple samples of this. Okay, the sun has basically set now, but here are the 2 samples here. I really do love how red that one comes across. Like, it's a really rosy red orangey color and I love it. I also love this one though, so I'm really intrigued to see it tomorrow once it's dried in the proper light. It's going to be a fully sunny day tomorrow, so should get a good idea of how these are going to look. I also did a couple of samples here on the windowsill. They're both just such beautiful colors and I think it's just going to be a really fun way to add some color to the space because the rest of the walls are going to be white. The sun is shining, the paint is dry. It definitely is going to need another coat. It's very streaky, but it does give a good idea of what the finished color will look like. Here it is on the windowsill. It's honestly such a tough decision. On camera, I like this one, but in real life, this one looks more like that. But it's really tricky because I make videos, so I want it to look good on camera too. Here are these 2. See here, this one looks too dark. This one's perfect. It's like the perfect orangey pink terracotta color I'm going for. Okay, after having a bit of a think, I've decided I'm definitely gonna go the lighter one just because This is only coat 1, and if I do another coat, it will go darker because the light white paint is still coming through underneath. So I do think this one's going to be too dark and this one will be perfect. I'm gonna start with my pot of sample paint, see how much this can actually cover, and then I'm gonna have to go back to the hardware shop and get a proper pot because there's quite a bit of painting to do. Few days I have been prepping the floor because I've decided that in order to inject a bit of color into this space, I'm actually going to paint the floors. I'm painting the floors for a couple of reasons. One, I do want to add a fun color in here. The other reason I want to paint the floors though is because they're not in the best condition. The concrete is very rough. It's not very neat at all. There's a lot of unevenness and a lot of patchiness in the color of grey the concrete is. So I feel like if I at least paint it, it will just make it feel a little bit more polished and refined and finished. It's definitely not going to hide all the inconsistencies, but I do have a rug that I'm going to put down here that will take up the majority of the floor space. So that way, yeah, you won't see all these little patches around the floor, and then you will just see kind of like a fun pop of color around the outside edge of the rug, which I think will look really nice. First, I'm gonna paint a primer on the floor, and then I'm gonna paint the actual color. I'm pretty sold on painting the floor Rosery pink because I just love that shade of pink so much, and I think it will work really nicely with the terracotta peachy color I painted the beams. So yeah, let's see how we go with painting these floors. I am a little bit nervous about this, I'm not gonna lie. Primer paint is all dry. It is looking incredible. Like, it has made such a difference. Obviously it's still quite uneven in areas, so I need to do a few patch ups. Yeah, what a difference. Getting rid of that grey floor. It is very light in here now with the light bouncing off the floor now as well. But yeah, I need to now go through some paint chips, see what color I want to go. I also have some sample pots of some pink paint that I was potentially going to use on the wall that I might try on the floor, see how it looks. But yeah, so far, very happy with this decision to paint the floor. I want to try and give you a look at with the terracotta and the pink. It's just, it complements it really nicely because I feel like this shade of pink has a real kind of orangeness to it. It's a very light peachy pink, which works perfectly with the terracotta orange of the beams and the windows. I just think that is going to be so fun to have on the floor. I was also, where are they? I think they're in my pocket actually. So yeah, we've got the Delicate Bloom, which is amazing. I love it. But I was also considering the pink tulle that I was potentially going to paint the beams. But now that I've painted the Delicate Bloom, I feel like that is just going to be ever so slightly too dark in here. I think it will match the beams and the window frames a bit too much, whereas the Delicate Bloom is like a little bit more subtle, but still bright enough to really make an impact. Hopefully it's looking good on camera because in real life it's looking so nice. Oh, and remember, please ignore this mess here. This is going to be fully covered up with tables eventually. But yeah, loving this beautiful pink shade. I think it's going to be perfect for the floor. The floor is painted. Oh, I think it has made such a difference to this space. It was just something about the floor being grey. It just looks so patchy and unfinished, and now it looks intentional. I don't know. Hopefully I've been able to get some good shots of it so you can see how it looks. It has dried quite pink. Like, it is a lot darker once it's dried, and yeah, that's on me. I was too impatient, and so I didn't let the sample dry before I painted the whole entire floor. And now that it's dried, it is a shade darker than I had anticipated. I don't hate it. I quite like it, especially on an overcast day like today. It is perfect, but when it's really sunny in here, it is very pink. Like, there's no denying it. But that is, I guess, what you get when you don't wait for a sample to dry properly. I'm gonna live with it for a couple more days before I actually put a finishing product on top just to seal the paint in. It just helps with the wear and tear of walking on the painted floor. As you can see now, it's sunny. Like, it's gorgeous. It's not bad at all. It is a beautiful color. It's just a lot more pink than I was anticipating, but I don't think that's a bad thing. But yeah, I think I'm actually gonna wrap this video up now, because now that everything's painted, I'm kind of up to all the fun neatening and final details, which I think I'm going to document in the next part of this series. I am really excited to potentially start having a go at some woodworking and build some custom pieces for this space, including my dream custom cutting table. Yeah, thank you so much for following along as I paint this room. It has been a journey and a half, but I have thoroughly enjoyed the process. I love that there's a bit of color in here now. It's got a bit more personality, which I'm excited about. And stay tuned for part 3, where I turn this shell into a livable space. I am so excited to start on that part of the process. Thank you so much for watching this video until the very end, and I'll see you in the next one.